You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live. Justice is served. Featuring the week's roundup and commentary on legal news. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Justice is Served.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Black Hollywood Live's Justice is Served, where we bring you the latest in legal news and entertainment. I'm your host, Rawa Gebrab. I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Lonnie Coombs. Lonnie, how are you?
Great to be here.
Oh,
Happy
great.
Friday.
I know.
As always.
It's been a long week. I'm ready to get it going. But before we get started, got a plug. If you guys haven't had the chance to check out Black Hollywood Live founder Maria Menounos' new book, The Everyday Girl's Guide to Fitness, you have to check it out. Great recipes, even better photos, and I can always use some tips for flattening my stomach. So check it out. We got some pretty interesting stories today. We are going to touch upon the Washington Redskins losing several trademarks. A Jersey Shore star loses it in a tanning salon. Will and Jada Pinkett Smith were investigated by the Department of Child and Family Services. Investigation's now been closed. The Aaliyah movie on Lifetime may have production halted on it. And we're also going to discuss the topic of posting pictures of one's children on the internet, on social media, and how that can go left very, very quickly. So let's go ahead and get started with our case of the week. Some really big news came down on Wednesday, and in a legal maneuver that could honestly have really broad implications for the branding of sports teams nationwide. On Wednesday, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office canceled 6 trademarks for the NFL's Washington Redskins, essentially saying that the marks were disparaging to Native Americans. Now, okay, 5 Native Americans brought this cancellation proceeding in 1992, so the litigation has been ongoing since then, and the lead plaintiff on the case, her name is Amanda Blackhorse, and she is a Navajo Indian as well as a psychiatric social worker. And she was a very, very strong advocate for the plaintiffs and continued to be strong throughout the entire litigation. I mean, one of her main arguments was, look, would Dan Snyder, who is the owner of the Washington Redskins, would he call me a Redskin to my face? And you know, she had really convincing arguments and kind of speaking to press after the ruling came down. But basically, the case was brought under the Trademark Act, which prohibits registration of marks that may disparage persons or bring them into contempt or disrepute. And so it's not over. The Redskins and the NFL are surely going to appeal this ruling. They have 2 months to do so. And in the meantime, the trademarks are not technically canceled. They're awaiting appeal and final ruling. And I think when folks first heard this, they thought, okay, the name is going to change, but and obviously we're going to move forward. But what does this ruling really mean?
Well, not much as far as what the team has to do. I mean, the team gets to keep the logo. They can continue to use the name as much as they want. But if anyone uses the logo without their permission, it limits what remedies they can have. And essentially, really, because there's still common law in place as far as remedies, no one really knows how much this will affect their right to sue until they actually sue the first time. And then it'll be litigated and they'll see how much the courts really will say, okay, you can have a remedy, or no, there's no patent anymore, so you can't have that. Now, there's a couple other things. It also removes the team's right to the term Redskinettes, which I guess was their nickname for the cheerleaders.
Oh, good God.
I know. And also the team use of the logo on their helmets. So there's a couple of other things that it does affect. However, you know, I find this so interesting, you know, the suit. Now, they have been bringing it for a long time. They actually got a ruling like this back in 1999. And the team appealed it, and it got overturned. So they're saying, look, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to appeal it. We'll be back here, no problem. But times have changed since 1999. And I think that they are just sticking their head in the sand to assume that they still, you know, can do this without people saying what are you doing? I mean, different minority groups have been able to really be heard in society about different terms that they feel to be slurs or discriminatory. African Americans, gays, they have all been able to speak up, and society has listened and generally tried to become a bit more sensitive to these things and listen to the people who are saying this is how it makes us feel. What I found was interesting is the NFL, who is backing the owner, saying, hey, look, the NFL has always demonstrated a commitment to progressive leadership on diversity and inclusion on and off the field. Okay, that sounds great. Then they said, the intent of this team's name, of course they don't say it, but they say the name has always been to present a strong, positive, respectful image. Okay, well, that's nice of you to say, but why don't you ask the people who the name is actually representing? Do they see that as a strong, positive, and respectful image of themselves?
So many of the polls that we're seeing are, people don't find this offensive. Okay, well, do we really care what just the general population thinks? I mean, if it's the marginalized group, we need to be worried about them.
Right. Although it's interesting because there are some, reports that say that group, the marginalized group, it's a small percentage that really cares about it. But it's become such a long-standing battle here. People are getting worn down. People are getting tired of it. And I think that at some point, this owner might stand up and just say, okay, or let's put it out there. Let's put it for a vote to our fans. Let's let he could turn this into a really positive PR move.
He could.
Instead of acting kind of like, kind of that Donald Sterling-ish attitude of, I'm the owner. I have all the money in the world. You're not going to tell me what to do. There is one other thing that some legal people are concerned about, and that is, having the federal government step in and try and handle this by essentially what some people are saying, limiting the free speech. It's kind of a scary turn. And there are some people in the government that are so upset. Senator Maria Cantwell has threatened to examine the NFL's tax-exempt status. The FCC has threatened to bring criminal charges against the club for indecency. I mean, they're trying different ways to get to the NFL to get them to change this. And you would think that the NFL and the owners would step back and say, hey, look, nobody wants the federal government coming in and trying to limit us. It just throws everybody into tons of litigation. Millions of dollars are spent. Who knows how that tarnishes the reputation. Exactly. So let's just figure out what we can do this without having the federal government have to step in and say, they're essentially weighing in and saying this is our opinion along with the rest of society. So it's an interesting move. It brings it right back up into the, into the forefront of this fight that's been going on for years. But I just think that the owner at some point, and the NFL, should be having these discussions and saying, look, do we really need more of this right now with the whole, Donald Sterling? I mean, these pro team owners, should...
Well, what's so strange to me, kind of, when I was looking at the story and reading over just the history of the term Redskin, and there are a lot of professional sports teams with Native American mascots, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, we've got the Atlanta Braves, Chicago Blackhawks, Kansas City Chiefs, Cleveland Indians, and I'm just like, okay, where does this come from, and what is this perpetuating? So,
yeah, but I do think there's something different between the Braves and the Redskins.
Yes.
I mean, it's the one proposal that came from one group is say, change it to Warriors. Okay, then you're talking about the type of person they are.
Right.
As opposed to the color of my skin. I mean, is that all you see? Is that all you're going to identify me as opposed to look at what I'm accomplishing? So I think that, I just think it's very short-sighted. But people say, is this a tipping point? Is this going to be the end all? Probably not. I mean, it's going to be whatever is going on in that owner's head when he changes his mind. I don't think he worries about the federal government or anybody telling him what to do.
I mean, can you imagine, though, if there were... Even if you did change the type of the name, like versus the skin color versus, Warriors, can you imagine if there was like an African American mascot or maybe some other minority group? I just don't think they would have it, regardless of whether or not it was a reference to skin or maybe to more like a character trait or something like that. And it's definitely disturbing. And considering, I think, how small of the population Native Americans are, they're really marginalized. They don't have much of a voice.
Absolutely, and you're hitting on the cultural impact of that. In many years, this group has been you know, used in very derogatory terms, very derogatory stereotypes, and without anybody batting an eye for many years. And I agree, for some reason, this group seems to be a target of for that more so than, maybe not more so, but without anybody really getting upset about it or speaking out or listening to, you know, the sensitivity has really been missing there for all of these years.
It absolutely has. And I honestly don't think that this is going to, personally, I don't think this is going to move Dan Snyder one way or the other. But rumor has it that he has registered a couple of other names
like what?
With the trademark office. So I believe the Washington Warriors. So that may be one of them.
Good.
And I'll have to double check on that. But I think he knows that there's a possibility that this may happen down the line. But I don't think it's going to happen willingly, which is unfortunate, because you don't want to see people have to make these choices and be forced into these choices. You want to see them kind of make a positive change without having to be forced to go down that road. But we'll see how it goes. It was definitely interesting, made a lot of waves, and I think it temporarily caused the public to think, okay, this is it. They're changing.
Yeah, right. It's a big ruling, but it's only about the trademark.
It's
It's not a force to change the name.
So what you're saying is I can't go out and print off all my own Redskin paraphernalia and sell it just yet.
No, well, that's the interesting thing. The funny thing to me is not only does it not stop the use of the name, it essentially opens the door for everybody to be using it.
Right.
And the team can't sue. But the funny thing to me about that is, who else is going to go out and do it? I mean, no, but I can't see anybody
entrepreneurs.
else doing it. Yeah, but you know, right now, because it's such a big, you know, sensitive issue. So, anyways, it's kind of an interesting ruling. Okay, let's go to On the Docket.
Let's.
We've got 3 stories. The first is the Jersey Shore's Mike Sorrentino. You probably heard a little bit about this. Okay, I have to say, Bravo and I were talking before this happened. I have never seen an actual episode of the Jersey Shore.
And I've seen all 6 seasons, including the reunions. Don't judge me.
So it'll be so you're going to be the expert opinion on this. So he was arrested this week because he got into a big fight in a New Jersey tanning salon, of all places. I understand that's one of the favorite activities on the Jersey Shore show is to tan. And at first, when the reports came out, it was kind of vague and secretive. They said he got into a fight, but they wouldn't say with who. And then it came out that it was at this tanning salon owned by Mike and his family, and the person that he was fighting with was his brother.
Right.
And then, of course, we got the 911 call, which we're going to listen to right now.
Yeah, let's run that.
911, where's your emergency?
I'm a customer at Boca Tanning, and my the owner is here, and him and his brother are in a fist fight with, like, family trying to pull it apart in the back.
Where are they, inside the store or behind
Yeah,
the
they're
store?
inside the store, in the back of the store, inside.
How many people are fighting?
I don't know. I just know it's Mike and his brother, Frank.
And it's
And
an actual fist fight?
There's girls screaming. I just brought them together. The girl at the front desk just asked me to call.
All right, just hold on 1 second, okay?
That's it.
Okay. So it goes on, but they kind of go back and forth there for a while. It's interesting just listening to that 911 call because she's very calm, but she really doesn't give much information. And the guy keeps asking her questions. She goes, well, you know, I just stepped out. I heard something was going on. There's a UPS store next door. The UPS gal told me she's hearing banging against the wall. So there's some questions here about what really happened. He did get arrested. Eventually he posted bail. And as he was coming out, you know, he gave a statement saying something like, oh, HR wasn't doing their job and I had to step in. So here's my question to you, since you are such an expert and you know these people so well. I have 2 theories, and I want to know which one you think. One is they happen to have a reality show.
Look at that.
Coming out. He and his family, all about their tanning salons. So is this just a PR campaign to kind of get people back interested in him and his family? Or is this something to do with perhaps him? He has talked about his sobriety. He went through rehab. He gave an interview recently saying, I've been focusing on my sobriety and getting healthy and getting back on TV. Do you think maybe there was a slip up or something to do with that? Or is this just an anger problem? What do you as the expert tell us on this?
In my professional opinion. No, you know what? Mike, who actually went by the nickname The Situation.
As far as I know, everybody loves The Situation.
he had these washboard abs, and he was known for kind of getting into it with his castmates. So he was kind of a fighter. He was also kind of towards the end of the show's run, he was also the outcast. So he definitely got into some fights. So it wasn't too surprising. But yeah, I'd never heard of this reality show until with his family until the news of him getting arrested came out. So I'm leaning more towards that, even though he does have a fighting past. The show is premiering on it's called The Sorrentinos. It's premiering on the TV Guide channel, I think July 15th. So I mean, it's starting pretty soon.
Yes.
And what better way to stir up the PR machine than to have a brawl.
Get arrested.
Yeah.
That's
it's probably filmed.
But here's the thing that really, exactly. The thing that really bothers me, though, is people that are using law enforcement for a PR campaign. I mean, come on. Law enforcement has more important things to do. There are probably other people calling 911 at that time, asking for the dispatcher. The dispatcher ends up sending out 2 cars, he was saying on the 911 tape, and it goes on longer. I mean, what if there was something really serious going on down the street or in another neighborhood, a domestic violence situation or something where somebody was really in danger? So we don't know if this was legitimate or not, but if it was more of, hey, let's just stir up some attention here, that really bothers me.
Yeah, she was pretty calm, and I guess the owners were asking, somebody at the desk was asking her to call law enforcement, and where were the girls screaming that she was referencing? I was like, what is going on? It just didn't sit right with me, and I mean, I'm sure we'll see it play out on the reality show in the next few weeks, and yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Thank you for that little Jersey Shore insight. The next story, and I'm really glad we're doing this because we talked about it, we've heard about this before, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. They have 2 kids. One is Willow. Yeah. And Willow's 13 years old. She has a singing career. And this picture showed up on, I think, Instagram.
Yes.
A little while ago, and it shows Willow Smith laying down, as you can see on the bed, with a guy named Moses Arias, who's 20 years old, sitting there on the bed with her, and he doesn't have a shirt on. So he posted it, like, no big deal, and then people started really going crazy about it, saying there's something inappropriate, this is sexual, she's 13, they're 13 and 20, they shouldn't even be friends, and here they are laying on this bed, where are the parents? And sure enough went on that the Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services launched an investigation into the parenting of Will and Jada Smith. And we've talked about it, so I'm really glad that we are doing the follow-up. People seem to forget to do the follow-up to say that the investigation was closed, that the department found there was nothing inappropriate. They did ask the Smiths, or tell the Smiths, that perhaps they should watch their children's social media more closely, which I just thought was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it was interesting, the outrage over this photograph. I think the Smiths handled it well. They just cooperated. They stayed out of the media, although Jada did say something to some paparazzi who was asking her about it, and she said, hey, look, there's nothing wrong with it. If you see it in your own mind, you got something going on. You're wrong. The sickness is in your head. It's not amongst my kids. So what do you think? Why do you think the investigation happened in the first place? And how do you think they handled the investigation?
Well, from what I understand, the Department of Children and Family Services operates on they have an anonymous tip hotline. And so anybody can call in with regard to...
Which is what happened here.
Right.
It's an anonymous tip.
With regard to child endangerment issues or abuse. And although I think that is an amazing system, and I think it's important, I think that also leaves open, especially with anonymous tips, it also leaves the possibility of abuse of that system open. And the Smiths got a lot of flack for this photo. Now, okay, it's probably not the best photo. I mean, Willow's 13. This guy's 20 years old. It's not ideal. They're not doing anything wholly inappropriate. I mean, this isn't porn. They're laying down on a bed. I mean, people can go either way on this. And not my child. I'm, and I have really no interest in, getting involved or even really throwing my hat in the ring into, an opinion on what should happen. I'm not a parent. So, so there's that. But this anonymous tip got called in. And I felt really bad for them because the Smiths get a lot of flack in general, I think, from the African-American community because their parenting style appears to be that they just let their children kind of be creative and be themselves.
Hands off.
Yeah. And these children are the kids of A-list celebrities, A-list African-American celebrities with a lot of celebrity teenage friends. And so they're in the public eye. And because of these choices that, whether it's dress or hair or activity, I mean, Jaden, the older brother, was actually just at Kim Kardashian's wedding, and I think he wore like a white Batman suit, and it was photographed.
Crazy.
Yeah, people were like, oh, why would they let their child go to a wedding and wear a white Batman suit? I mean, kids are going to be kids, and they've gotten a lot of flack, and I could just see somebody, just an anonymous whoever, looking at this picture in some type of gossip rag saying, oh my God, this is ridiculous. They don't know how to parent their child. Let me go ahead and call in.
Yeah, I get that. I see how other people would talk about it, but I found it interesting that the Department of Family and Child Services launched an in-depth investigation. I mean, there are so many. How many tips do you think they get of abuse every day in Los Angeles County?
Oh my gosh,
of
can't even
children
count.
being neglected, of children being abused, of children not getting fed, and
Well, how in-depth was it?
well, I don't know how it went for a while though, because this story broke a few weeks ago at least. So I'm just glad that we are reporting that it's closed, because I'm not hearing anybody else reporting that it's closed.
Right.
People said it was opened, and now we know that everything was finished. So. All right. The last story is about Aaliyah, who many of you remember was a wonderful singer. Her life was tragically cut short when she died in a plane crash in the Bahamas. And I remember when this happened, it was like, what happened? They had just finished filming a music video, and there were all of these allegations about, was it pilot error? Were there too many bags on the plane? Were there too many people? But a very, very sad, tragic ending to her life. And she had this wonderful singing career that started when she was 10 years old. She performed on Star Search, and then she ended up performing with Gladys Knight, and then she signed with Jive Records at the age of 12.
Just a quick side note, Aaliyah's first album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, my first album ever. I used to want to be her. I used to rock the swoop over the eye. I loved her so much. I didn't ever wear like any of the midriff-bearing stuff because I never had a stomach like that. So I knew my limits, but loved her. Loved her.
Yeah, and very beloved.
Yeah.
And so that's what the issue is right now. Lifetime has planned to produce a biopic of her life, and they have even cast Zendaya, the 17-year-old who was just on Dancing with the Stars, who's a very talented, wonderful actress, singer, and dancer. And so they're saying, look, this is perfect. There's been some outrage about the casting, and now there's some outrage about the actual movie itself by Barry Hankerson, who was Aaliyah's manager and uncle, and he says he's speaking for the family, and they're very upset, and they're going to take legal action to try and block this. Mainly, they say they're upset because the Lifetime never even talked to the family about it, which seems crazy to me. You'd think they'd want permission. And second of all, they don't think that a Lifetime movie really holds up to the stature of her life and her career. They think it would be better to do like a musical theatrical film or something on her life. So they're going to try and take legal action. What do you think about, first, about their chances legally to try and stop this? And why do you think that they're really taking the legal action instead of just talking to Lifetime and saying, look, why don't we try and work this out together?
I think that first, it really depends on what kind of control they have over her estate. From what I understand, the family still maintains all of her music rights, and
which would make sense,
right? And they plan to, from Mr. Hankerson, from what he said, they plan to not license out her music for use in the film, which would, of course, definitely diminish.
Where's the film, right?
Yeah, it would definitely diminish the impact of the film. I mean, all these, Selena with Jennifer Lopez, and What's Love Got to Do with It with Angela Bassett based on Tina Turner's life. I mean, these movies, they need to have the music.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know if they plan on using the music or not, but it seems like maybe they don't, because they didn't. Lifetime appears to not have even spoken to the family, and I think that to limit the movie they can. I don't know if they can fully stop production on it, depending on what other control they have over her estate and her likeness, but I think they can definitely impact it, and that's unfortunate. I don't know why they wouldn't go and talk to them, and I also don't know if that's true. I mean, they've said it, but we don't know what kind of talks. But you think with a movie of a celebrity's life particularly one that has passed, that there would be some type of protocol that one would undergo, that the family would be consulted on casting, that they'd be consulted on a number of other things. And so it's already not off to a good start, but it also has provided a lot of press for this upcoming movie. Same thing for the Whitney Houston biopic that Lifetime is also producing. Family doesn't want her story on the small screen; they want it on the silver screen, and they are also I don't know what control the Houston estate has over Whitney's likeness and her music, but I mean, we may be reporting this story, just with a different artist next week. You never know.
Yeah. Well, Lifetime seems to be in the market right now for these movies.
I live for a good Lifetime movie, though.
You know what? I do too. That's when they said they didn't want Lifetime, because you can always do more than one movie.
Yes.
There's plenty of different ways to do it. People who love their stars and their celebrities, they'll see whatever movies out there, and Lifetime, can do a good job. But people are also always really interested whenever there is a movie about a celebrity. Is the family involved? Does the family like it? Because then you feel like maybe there's more credibility to it. Maybe they're telling the story better if there's some inside. And then they get inside photographs and things. So,
because Tina Turner was a producer. She was all up in the production of What's Love.
Right, and so then you're like, oh, then this is really the way it happened, at least according to how she felt about it. So
we'll see.
Yeah, that'll continue to unfold, I'm sure.
Yeah. So that's on the docket. We are moving right along to tipping the scales for a topic that I find really fascinating, and one that's pretty timely considering the social media age that we live in today. So this Virginia mother found pictures of her kids. She had she has an 8-year-old son and two younger twin girls manipulated on a stranger's Instagram page, and raises the issue: do parents have any right to fight photos that have been posted by other people regarding their own children if they post these pictures for the public to consume? And I think we have a brief video to run. Just
for children.
This has taught me a lesson.
Sierra Logan is the proud mother of an 8-year-old son and twin 2-year-old girls.
I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Sierra is like many who use social media on a daily basis. But last week, she discovered someone had liked 3 of her pictures on Instagram that didn't include her children. When she went to visit his Instagram page,
as I scrolled through his pictures, I saw this picture of my children.
The photo taken 2 weeks before had been manipulated with a caption and multiple hashtags added
to insinuate that my son is a pimp, or that my son is selling cars because he has on a suit and he has 2 little girls with him, or to hashtag keep him away from those girls, as if to say my son is a predator.
Sierra says she instantly contacted the stranger to remove the picture.
He blocked me on Instagram, his page went private, and he changed his Instagram name.
Now she doesn't know if the photograph is still up or being circulated around the internet, and offers a life lesson learned warning to all parents.
My message is share them with the ones you love via text message. Get a page that's for family only.
Sierra Logan immediately contacted Instagram. They said that she should remove all her children's pictures from her Instagram page, and she has done that. She's also made her page private, and she suggests that we all consider doing the same. Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.
Yeah. Oh, the story really broke my heart. I mean, I just get very sensitive when it comes to children, so I can totally understand a mother being upset about, about her children's photos being manipulated and having somebody make just really obscene insinuations regarding one's kids. And I mean, we're living in an age where people post everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think the solution is to necessarily tell people to not post photos. I don't know if that's really going to happen. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, I was really glad we were doing this story, because this is one of my biggest concerns, and nobody takes me seriously. And people just don't believe. I mean, the mom there that we heard, who I thought was very good in her advice at the end, she's an information technology specialist. So, she's very aware of what, social media and everything. And people just assume or don't think about what happens to the photographs once you post them.
Right.
And, there's one thing to be posting pictures of you and your friends and maybe, having fun or partying or doing things. And we've all talked about, hey, look, your future employers will see these things. They never go away. They never disappear. But people love to share pictures of their kids. I get it. I love kids. I have kids. I have, I get lots of pictures of kids, and they're very fun to see. However, the worst, the best thing, I mean, what happened to her, while upsetting, was actually fairly tame compared to what may happen to other pictures.
Right.
There are child pornographers. There are perverts. There are all sorts of creepy, evil people out there who are looking for photographs, and who knows what they're doing with those photographs. Those photographs that they can show up in a child porn film. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen to those pictures. And if you want to protect your children, what she said at the end is so important. Don't put them out there just for anyone to have access to. You really do need to limit those pictures to just people that you trust and you love, and that you know are not going to send them out there, you know, on the broad spectrum. And people say, you're just over. Okay, that's fine. But then if you ever found, how upset would you be if you found out that this was going on? And if it doesn't matter to you, okay, then don't worry about it. But if it is going to upset you, then you need to really think about that. And, you know, I understand Phil, our producer, explained to me what a meme. A meme? A meme is, I know it's spelled Mimi, I call it Mimi, but a meme is, and, you know, some of them are really funny. We looked at some, they're hilarious.
Yeah, Phil's an expert.
Yes, and he said it's actually a badge of honor to have your own meme out there.
That's a little far stretch, but it's true.
Okay.
Depending, maybe.
Yes. But it's a whole different situation when it's your children.
Yeah.
And, you know, those two little girls are 2 years old, and, you know, her son's 8 years old. And so I just think you have to be really careful about that.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of investigate this further, and so I went and looked at Instagram's terms of service. I also looked at Facebook's because, yeah, I mean, I think what you said earlier really made a lot of sense. I mean, although the caption did not insinuate anything that I would want insinuated about my kids, which I don't have yet, but it was fairly tame compared to what is out there and what could be put out there. And so their advice was generally both social media networks would be to just, you know, take those photos down. And okay, with Facebook, you can have these photos removed if they come up on like maybe an imposter account or hacked accounts, or if there's abuse and harassment. And in Instagram, I think it's very, very similar. Also with the caveat for pornography, which I think would of course fall into that group, that category. So they probably didn't consider. Both companies probably wouldn't consider what happened here to be as egregious as some of the other pictures that I'm sure have popped up in the past and will pop up in the future. But yeah, it's got to be frustrating because I've definitely contacted Instagram before, or I've contacted Facebook before, even just for questions. And because they're so huge, and it's just not easy to get responses right away.
Well, and believe me, and it's hard for them to actually do a lot of things. I mean, where are they going to draw the line? Maybe what you find offensive, they're not going to find offensive. And then trying to track the people down. Sometimes it's very hard. Sometimes you have no idea who really is posting these things, and they can't figure it out. You can't figure it out. And then who knows where they've taken it. Even if Facebook says, okay, we'll take it down, then it goes on from there. So it's better for you to stop it before it even starts, because once it's out there, you just have to figure whatever you put out there, it's out there.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to listen. I mean, people are still going to post like pictures of their kids, but I mean, just know what's out there, because legally it's very hard to get these things taken down unless it's really, really egregious.
Right. And, you know, and a lot of things like, you know, your cute kids and whatever, okay, it's going to be fine. But the one thing that always makes me really nervous is when the little kids, you know, the moms and dads post their kids in the bathtub.
I know. I agree.
They're cute pictures, but I, you know, because of my background as a criminal prosecutor, I think, okay, how many sick people out there are looking at that photo in a very different way than the parents intended?
Well, because of my background as an avid watcher of Dateline NBC,
yes,
I feel this exact same way. And people post pictures of their kids on the toilet. Like, what are you doing? I mean, they're cute, but come on now.
Limit those.
You know, that's our advice. But man, pretty great topics on today's show. And thank you guys for joining us this week. My name is Rawa. You can find me on Twitter at Rawa, and
I'm Lonnie Coombs, LONICOOMBS.
Please join us. Coombs. Yes, please join us next week, and have a fantastic weekend, guys. Bye-bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in. The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.